There have been a couple of major buzzwords surrounding the Sacramento Kings during this training camp. Accountability has been the big one, but today we're going to talk about togetherness. Malik Monk, Mike Brown, and Domantas Sabonis talked about the cohesiveness and the chemistry of this unit today at practice. You're going to hear from them, plus a little bit of bad news regarding Keegan Murray. It's right here on Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. Time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all regular season and all off-season. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports reporter and producer at ABC 10 News. I was at the Kings practice facility today for a brief practice before the Kings board a plane, head to Phoenix for their meeting preseason game 3 with the Suns on Wednesday. And unfortunately, Keegan Murray will not be with the team. We found out today at practice that Murray is suffering from a non-COVID related illness. Now, Richaun Holmes has missed the last few practices and missed the game on Sunday with a non-COVID related illness. We have no idea if this is the same illness that Keegan has, if Richaun passed it to Keegan, if there's a bug going around the team. No idea, no reason to speculate about that. We just know that Keegan Murray will not be with the team in Phoenix, and Richaun Holmes actually showed up to practice today, participated in practice early on, and then ended up still not feeling good and leaving early. So no word yet on the timetable of his return. So some disappointing news. Keegan Murray, who of course has been playing so well throughout preseason thus far, we will not see him against the Phoenix Suns. And of course that'll change a bit of my tune about starting Keegan Murray over KZ Okpala, something that I've talked a lot about over the last handful of podcasts, and especially went into detail after the Kings and Portland Trail Blazers game. Well, I want to throw it to past Matt here for a second to talk about that KZ Okpala over Keegan Murray take. So past Matt, take it away. Hey, thanks, current Matt. This is past Matt sitting alone in my dark sports office here at the ABC 10 studios after hours, and I didn't want to wait until tomorrow when I'm recording the rest of this podcast to talk about this. It's fresh on my mind. I've learned over the last 24 hours or so that my opinion about KZ Okpala not being the starter anymore, Keegan Murray taking his spot, maybe not the most popular of opinions out there. A lot of you believe that KZ should remain the starter. You like what you've seen in the first 2 games. You like how KZ has started the games defending Damian Lillard and LeBron James, who both struggled. You like the fact that the Kings have blown out both of their opponents in the preseason, saying, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Plus, you see Keegan Murray succeeding in his role off the bench, again, in a very small sample size. Completely understand. It's not you disagreeing with me that bothers me. I actually have no issue at all if Mike Brown decides to keep KZ Okpala in the starting lineup for the remainder of the preseason going into next season. I disagree with it, but I trust Mike Brown. You should definitely have more faith in Mike Brown and trust Mike Brown and his coaching opinions and the rotations that he puts together more than you should trust my opinion from an outside perspective. But I still disagree with the move. And if you want to see, or if you didn't hear my arguments for why I'm kind of against KZ Okpala starting at that 4 spot, why I believe it's time to end that experiment and put Keegan Murray in the starting lineup, you can check out my post-game pod after the Kings win inside the Golden One Center over the Portland Trail Blazers. Go and check that out. I don't need to rehash it here. What I do want to say is this. Some people, and I don't usually address things like this, but I saw this comment from more than just one source, both on Twitter, my comment section of podcasts, comment section of other podcasts that I was on. People think that I'm trying to spin up drama, or I'm trying to be hot takey, or I'm trying to do something to disrupt the enjoyment of these first 2 games of the preseason. And that bothers me. That gets under my skin a little bit. As someone who takes this job very, very seriously, as someone who is very thankful to have the access that I have, to have built the career that I've built, starting from a diehard Kings fan like many of you, it bothers me that some people would think that me sharing my opinion is actually my attempt at causing disruption to either get my name out there, to build clout for myself or build clout for the show, to get people to watch. I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I'm not Skip Bayless. I don't believe in doing that kind of stuff. My opinion is just that, my opinion. It's my belief that Keegan Murray is a top 5 talent on this Kings roster. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he has to be a starter. A lot of teams don't necessarily start their 5 best guys. What matters is who closes, right? Keegan Murray is going to be a closer. We expect that in a close game. Keegan Murray should have that spot over KZ Okpala. I don't think that should be an argument at any point unless the Kings really need to get stops and maybe Keegan Murray's having a rough shooting night. But starting lineups, it's not as big of a deal, right? I understand that completely. It's my belief that it would be better for the Sacramento Kings to punch first, not block first. And what I mean by that is I think that Keegan Murray presents more of an opportunity for the Kings starting lineup, presents a better opportunity overall for the Kings to get off to a good start than KZ Okpala presents an opportunity to prevent an opponent's good start. I think there's obviously higher upside with Keegan, but I'll say this about KZ Okpala, and I mean this genuinely. I went into training camp just like a lot of us went into training camp questioning whether or not KZ Okpala was going to make the team. Was he going to be a 13th, 14th, or 15th guy? Could he maybe spend some time in the G League? We didn't know if KZ Okpala was going to be on the team, let alone be a part of the rotation. In just 2 weeks, or however long it's been, now my viewpoint has changed to KZ Okpala absolutely has to be a part of the rotation and is one of the best, if not the best defender on the team. I can clearly see why Mike Brown trusts him. I can see why Mike Brown thinks he has Defensive Player of the Year potential. He's going to be very valuable for the Sacramento Kings this year. I don't believe his highest value is good enough at this point in time to be a starter with the Sacramento Kings. I think Keegan Murray presents more positives as a starter, playing as much as he can with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. I think ultimately that's going to lead to more wins, and I think KZ Okpala at this point in time is just holding on or keeping that spot warm for Keegan. Maybe that's the point. Maybe Keegan is a rookie. Brown doesn't want to rush him into that spot. Who knows? As of right now, it's been working. It's been enjoyable. I like what I've seen out of KZ Okpala. My opinion is just different from Mike Brown's. That's okay. We can disagree. I can be wrong. You can disagree with me, but it's not creating drama. It doesn't have to be creating drama, because creating drama would be me going to Kings practice, sticking a microphone in Keegan Murray's face and saying, hey, what do you think about KZ Okpala starting over you? Sticking a microphone in Mike Brown's face and saying, hey, do you trust KZ Okpala more than Keegan Murray? Or sticking a mic in KZ Okpala's face and saying, man, do you feel like you're better than Keegan? Is that why you're starting? That's creating drama. That's unnecessary. I'm not in the business of doing that. I don't think anybody really in the Sacramento media who covers the Kings consistently is in the business of doing that. Again, I don't normally address things like this, but that bothered me. And I wanted to make sure I talked about that really quickly here. Again, I think KZ Okpala is going to be a valuable member of the Kings. I think Keegan Murray's better as a starter. I think he will be the starter eventually. I think he should be the starter right now. He's proved it. You also know how high I am on Keegan Murray if you followed the show since the NBA draft and even before that. All right, enough of my darkroom soapbox. Let's send it back to current Matt to tell you about Kings practice today, and so you can hear from the members who spoke at Kings practice before they left for Phoenix to take on the Suns tomorrow. All right, present day Matt back with you here again. Let's talk a little bit about what happened at practice today. I already gave you the news about the Keegan Murray and Richaun Holmes situation, but when we walked in the building, the Kings were going through a late game kind of crunch time simulation. When we walked in, I think Harrison Barnes was at the free throw line, and it was the Kings starters in black that were the team behind trying to come back against the purple squad, which is like the third string featuring guys like Alex Len, Matthew Dellavedova was playing the point. It wasn't like the second string Grays, LaDavion Mitchell, Malik Monk, things like that. And the Kings were trailing by, I think, 6 or 7 in this situation with a little, or like around 13, 14 seconds left. No idea how they got here, if they set it up that way, or if this was the bench squad had built a little bit of a lead. Regardless, when we walk in, Harrison Barnes is at the line. He makes the first free throw, intentionally misses the second free throw. The ball is knocked out of bounds, and the Kings get possession on the baseline, trying to cut into this lead with roughly around 10 seconds left. Then a beautifully executed inbound play, 1-2 connection between De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Fox inbounds the ball to Sabonis at the top of the three-point arc. Sabonis then finds Fox on a curl in the corner. Perfect bounce pass right to De'Aaron, and no hesitation, he drains the corner three to cut into that lead a little bit. And the opposing team calls timeout And you can see if you're watching on YouTube, and I encourage you to head over to YouTube so you can see what I'm describing here. Great interaction, high fives between Sabonis and De'Aaron. The audio is muted, but De'Aaron said very loud for everybody to hear, nice pass, Domas. And it was just cool to see that chemistry and camaraderie between the two of them. Fox hitting that great shot. Ultimately, the way the drill would end, the Kings would intentionally foul Matthew Dellavedova. He missed the first free throw, made the second. I don't remember if it was a three-point game or what the situation was at that point in time. Kings try and get a one more shot off, are unable to do so. Which was kind of a problem that this team dealt with a few times at the end of quarters and the ends of halves, and sometimes at the ends of games last season, where not only did they not get a good shot, they didn't get a shot off, period, when they needed to. So maybe that wasn't the most exciting thing to see, or was, I wouldn't say I was disappointed by that, but it's just something that jogged my memory of a struggle at times last season. Then, of course, they had the free throw or run drill to end practice, and I think it was Malik Monk. It was De'Aaron Fox first who hit two. I don't remember who the middle player was. It was Domantas Sabonis after De'Aaron Fox who hit two, and then Malik Monk stepped to the line and drained the final two in order to end practice. So the Kings now head to Phoenix for a game against the Suns. And I know you are interested in hearing from the guys that we got to talk to at practice. Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, and Mike Brown all talked to us after practice. And really the main things that I want you to take away from this or really listen to are the talks of camaraderie. Malik Monk is going to share about like the cohesiveness of this group and who he gives that credit to. Mike Brown share some details about the Kings team bonding trip, or a number of Kings went to visit Domantas Sabonis' place in Napa over the summer and how that built chemistry. Sabonis talks about building chemistry as well. He also talks about his dunk. I asked Mike Brown about the pace and playing in transition. So there's a lot of really good stuff here in these sound bites from these three players, and I'll talk to you about some of my major takeaways on the other side. Before we get to those sound bites, though, I want to let you know that today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Built Bar, longtime friend and sponsor here of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't tried their cookie dough chunk puffs, you need to. Now, a Built Bar puff is a protein-infused marshmallow. It's like a marshmallow treat with protein inside it. Now, cookie dough chunks attached to it, covered in 100% chocolate. Doesn't it sound delicious? It is delicious. It is absolutely wonderful. It satisfies that sweet tooth. But here's the kicker. It's good for you. Packed with protein. We're talking 15 grams of protein in one of these things. Only 160 calories. And that's consistent throughout all of Built's products. Whether you're getting a Built granola bar, whether you're getting just the classic Built bars and all their different flavors, I highly recommend the mint brownie bar. They are so good and very good for you. Whatever you order on Built.com, we have a promo code for you. If you use our promo code LOCKEDON15, all one word, LOCKEDON15 at checkout, you'll get 15% off whatever you order. Get yourself a mixed box so you can try a bunch of different bars, get yourself these new puffs, give the granola bars a try. You will love them. LOCKEDON15 for 15% off at Built.com.
He's making sure we're getting right. I respect it. Making sure we don't be sloppy out there. And, I like that as a coach. I like that as a coach, man. Holding everybody accountable, not just the rookies, not just me. He holding Sabonis, Fox, HB, everybody accountable. So, I like that.
Just kind of surprised you most over these first 2 weeks? You got 2 games under your belt before the third. Just kind of what stands out to you?
How together we are in a little amount of time we had together. It's crazy how good we play together and how everybody is locked into one goal.
What do you attribute that to?
Mike Brown, man. Just Mike preaching, changing the culture, preaching that we got to do it out here, and preaching that we got to be together to make this thing turn around.
Are there things that you guys do away from basketball that kind of strengthens that bond you guys have?
Oh yeah, we go to eat. A lot of people go to dinners. At least 2 or 3 people be at dinner everywhere we go. So we getting a little bit after we in here. We go to Top Golf sometimes, things like that. So yeah, we getting a lot in.
Just 2 games together, you guys flirted with the franchise record for threes in a preseason game. I know you're one of the shooters on this team. Is that significant to you to do that with a group that's still so fresh and new?
Not really significant to me, but the team, yeah, I think we're gonna get it done pretty early because the way we play. Everybody shares the ball. We don't care who scores. So yeah, I think we're gonna get it done pretty early.
What impressed you with what you guys were able to do in that last preseason game against Portland?
Like you said, hit 21 threes that fast, man. And we just been together. We only played 2 games together. That was our 2nd game. So it's crazy the togetherness we have. That impressed me the most.
You say that too. You guys had 34 assists, so you weren't really sharing that ball. That was another standout. What do you say about sharing the ball like that? Coming up with that many dishes.
Yeah, for sure, man. Everybody's selfless. So we don't care who scored, like I said before. And we all want the same thing, and that's to get to the playoffs, man, and turn this thing around and sack.
I asked you about the rookies the other day, if you had anything for them. Are you still plotting?
Yeah, I'm still plotting for sure. Somebody, Chima, actually, he be talking too much. I'm going to popcorn his car probably.
How much fun did you have with the dunk? I kind of surprised a few people.
I don't know why everyone keeps saying surprised, but whatever. No, just it's part of the game. Me and Davion have been working on that pick and roll game, and he read it perfectly, and I finished.
When you looked over at the bench, what did you see?
Everyone going crazy.
I mean, so it wasn't just they got up for that.
Yeah.
Just as much as the fans did.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It definitely brought the arena alive.
Malik was just here talking about togetherness and how you guys feel pretty close-knit despite there being new faces and a first-year head coach. What's the key to feeling that togetherness with so many new guys in a situation like this?
Just, obviously competing on the court, having your brothers back out there, but building that chemistry off the court definitely helps on the court.
Is there a specific thing off the court that stands out to you in terms of building that?
Just hanging out more, on the plane, on the bus, hanging out, not just everyone on their phones in the locker room, like actually interacting, getting to know each other. The more you know about someone, the more you feel connected to them. So just asking questions.
Tomas, when you get 34 assists like you guys did in that preseason game, even though it's just preseason, do you feel that's a byproduct of not only what you bring, but some of the pieces they put around you with the ball movement?
Yeah, of course. It's something we got to believe in that we can do every night. It's not just, one game that's fun. We can't go away from that. It's very easy to have a lot of assists one game and next game kind of go away from that. But as long as we can keep that consistent in that average, it'd be amazing.
I know it's not your first home game. You've had Kings home games before, but to see 14,000 in the building for your first preseason game, did that stand out to you and the team?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I already knew it was going to be packed. I was excited. for the preseason game. Definitely excited for the home opener.
You and your staff have been pretty animated on the sidelines about pushing the tempo. How would you assess the transition game in these first 2 games?
Our pace has been pretty good. We still want to keep pushing and playing faster. And we want to do it for 4 quarters because, at the end of the day, not a lot of teams want to play at that pace. And if we're in the right, mind frame and not only the right mindset, but also if we're there physically in terms of being able to get up and down, then, we're going to demand it the whole game all the time.
Is there a designated amount of fast break points or fast break shots or opportunities that you want per game, or does it vary?
No, I don't even look at that. I'm just looking at the pace because sometimes, you may push the ball and you may not be able to get even a good shot right away, but you get into your offense quickly. And if you push it and get into your offense quickly, that still puts a lot of pressure on the defense that most defenses don't want to face the entire ball game.
What are you looking for going into Phoenix?
Our same stuff. We want to compete overall, offensively. Again, it's paint touches, ball reversals, playing in the .5. All those little things, and same defensively. We want to see guys communicate, don't give up middle, no blow-bys, multiple efforts to finishing plays, being physical without fouling. Both games we've kind of fouled a lot. And, so just our same staples on both sides of the ball. That won't change.
Did either of these last 2 feel like a dress rehearsal for what's to come in the season, or this fight?
They all do to a certain degree, but it's a build-up for our guys, So it doesn't matter who's on the floor. Again, I won't play everybody. It'll be similar to last game. The guys that didn't play in last game will play this game, and so but it's a build up to the start of the season. That's kind of how we're looking at it.
The guys have been talking about togetherness. I'm curious, obviously that has to happen naturally, but as a coach stepping into a new situation, how do you try to foster that togetherness among you guys?
Well, you give some of your top guys suggestions on, it starts in the summertime. For instance, we had suggested Sabonis has a house, out in Napa, and we had suggested to him, hey, that's your hood, let's have a little get-together out there, see who wants to come out. And this is when I was with the Warriors and we were in the playoffs. So, it started back then. And man, I think 8 to 9 guys went out to Napa and stayed for 2 nights. And they went to dinner both nights as a group and watched our, 1 or 2 of our finals games while they're out there. We worked out together. And so, it doesn't just happen on the court during the season, in all season, seeing guys, volunteer and take time away from their families to come be with their teammates. There's a huge growing / bonding period. And we had a few of those occasions this past summer that started off the right way, and now there's carryover into the season on it. Yeah, well, Jay can't. Hey, Jay, come here for a sec, Jay. I got a question for you, Jay. Come on, come right here, stand next to me. This is a dual interview right here. First of all, you guys know Jay was a hell of a player. He played in the Olympics. He coached in the Olympics. How many points you average in college?
26.
26. Hey, got bucket. How many assists?
Not many.
Okay.
Not many at all.
Not many.
Yeah, accidents.
They want to know about the bell. Can you tell them about the bell?
Yeah,
hold on. Can I ask?
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Mike Brown with Fox 40 News.
Yeah.
You guys installed a bell in the practice facility, that bronze, gold bell. Can you tell us? Go ahead, ring it, Luke. Okay. Can you tell us what's behind the gold bell?
Yeah, multiple things. We want to reward players and bring recognition to guys that do good things for the team. Guy takes a charge in practice or he does verticality at the rim, we're going to ring the bell. And then team-wise, if we get in the paint and we kick it out and make a 3, and we've shrunk the defense, then that's going to be something that we reward people for as well. And I know there's a history with Sacramento and bells, so we've got trying to bring the bell back to Sacramento.
You heard it live. Sacramento Kings practice facility.
Today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is also brought to you by Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy the way it was meant to be played. And here is how Prize Picks works. It's very different from anything else out there, and honestly, way more fun than anything else out there. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more points than what Prize Picks projects, you win. It's that simple. You put money down, you go against the projections. If your players cover that projection, you win your money back and then some. It is the best way to play daily fantasy. You don't have to worry about the hassle of drafting a team and then managing that team every single night over the course of an 82-game season. That can get tiring for everybody. Don't have to worry about anything like that. And also, you don't have to worry about playing against the sharks out there online, those guys that just do this for a living, that know how to beat you and take advantage of you and basically take your money. You don't have to worry about that. It's just you versus the house. And Prize Picks projections, they're very fair, right down the middle. Again, I think it's the absolute best way to play fantasy basketball. But they don't just have basketball. They have the NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college athletics. Give Prize Picks a try for all of your fantasy sports. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. They have safe and fast withdrawals, and they currently are operational in over 30 states and in Canada. Download Prize Picks, the app, or go to the prizepicks.com website to sign up, and you can play daily fantasy sports right now. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON, meaning if you deposit $100, you get $100 on top of that. You deposit $50, you get $50 on top of that. But you have to use promo code LOCKEDON at sign-up to take advantage of that deal. So a couple takeaways from hearing from Malik, Sabonis, and Coach Brown at practice today. I already mentioned how much camaraderie was the theme and togetherness was the theme today. A lot of questions about that, but I like that Malik immediately gave the credit to Mike Brown for building that togetherness after he talked about the accountability that Brown brings to the table. And I think that's the perfect way to sum up Mike Brown as a head coach, right? He is a coach that will get in your face, will hold you accountable, will call you out when you're doing something wrong, will correct mistakes, and is not afraid to be mean when he has to be mean or have a temper when he has to have a temper. But he has that respect, and he always preaches togetherness, and he shows how much he cares about his guys through his actions. And doesn't just tell them, right? So when he's on those teaching moments, when he's in those accountability moments, when he's singling a guy out or chewing you out on the sidelines or whatever it may be, the players already have that built relationship with him and that built trust, not just of his reputation and all of his years around the league, but the relationships that he works hard to build with his players and the relationships he wants his players to form with each other. That's very significant about Mike Brown. That's why I trust him with basically anything that has to do with this organization right now. Again, even if I disagree with his lineups or rotations or anything like that, I can disagree, but I do completely trust what Mike is doing, and it seems like the players do as well. That's been a consistent theme throughout training camp that I liked. I love that Mike went into a little bit of detail about what that Napa trip was like and what actually happened during that Napa trip. Also, I hope you enjoyed that fun little audio listeners. You really have to watch it. That fun little interaction there at the end between Mike Brown and his assistant coach Jay Triano when he was asked about the bell in the practice facility. But that also gives you another glimpse as to just who Mike Brown, the personality is, and why he's so likable around the NBA. And then a couple things from Sabonis. He talked about why are people so surprised by the dunk, right? And to be honest, we all were surprised to see him throw down a dunk like that. But great to see he doesn't know why we're surprised about that. Also, I managed to sneak in a question there at the end about 14,000 fans, which I haven't even addressed yet. There were 14,000 fans at the Golden One Center for a preseason game. That just, one, goes to show you the excitement level that the fans have about this team, and two, of course, I don't need to say it, but I'll continue to point it out, the loyalty of this fan base to continue to support this team despite it being 16 years since they've made the playoffs in just a meaningless preseason game against the same team that the Kings are going to be playing on opening night here in a handful of days. Like, that's significant, and I know if that stands out to me, if that stands out to all of us, that definitely stands out to the players. So I had to ask Domantas about that. So Kings on their way to Phoenix. We'll see what they are able to do against the Suns. I have great guests coming here on the Locked On Kings podcast this week. My friends Frankie Cardicelli and Chris Watkins from Sacktown Sports 1140 Radio, the hosts of the Return of the Roar podcast. They're going to be joining me for another one of our annual mild, hot, and spicy take podcasts. So I hope you will join me for that. And then Kyle Draper, Kings play-by-play man, also Kings pregame and postgame host for NBC Sports. He will be joining me, and we'll talk about this upcoming season. Very excited about that too. Plus, I'm working on more great guests for the early part of the season, right before the season starts. Locked On Kings, we're just getting going here. And I appreciate you so much for your support. Today is the last day that you can enter to win a pair of opening night tickets. I'm giving them away tomorrow, Wednesday, exactly 1 week away from opening night. So all you have to do is go to my Twitter, find my pinned tweet. It shows a picture of what the view is going to look like from section 116 where the tickets are for. And I am going to, or all you have to do is respond to that tweet with a picture or video or story or memory of yourself and the Sacramento Kings. And a third party is going to be selecting that winner. And I will be giving that winner a pair of tickets to opening night, Kings and Blazers, next week. So very excited about that. Hope that you win. Make sure you go and enter again. The winner will be picked tomorrow, Wednesday, afternoon, evening time, probably just before the Kings and Suns game. Appreciate your support. Can't wait to have you join me on the next episode of Locked On Kings. Until then, my name is Matt George. You have been listening to the Locked On Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.